My stepmother convinced my dad I was faking illness, so he cut off my treatment. Hey everyone, I'm Sarah. Before I dive into my story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this wild ride. I'm your typical 17-year-old, well, except for this chronic illness that's been kicking my butt since forever. It's just been me and my dad Mark since mom passed when I was little. We've been thick as thieves, you know? He's always been my rock, especially with all the doctor visits and meds I need. Life was pretty chill until Veronica waltzed into our lives. Dad met her at work, and man, she turned on the charm. At first, I was pumped. Dad deserved some happiness, right? And Veronica seemed cool, always bringing me little gifts and stuff. Sarah, honey, how about we have a girls' night? We could do face masks and watch that new rom-com you've been talking about, Veronica suggested one day. I was all for it. That sounds awesome. Maybe we could order pizza too. Of course, anything for my new daughter, she said with a wink. But something about that wink. I don't know, it just felt off. Anyway, things moved fast. Before I knew it, Dad was down on one knee and Veronica was flashing a rock that could probably be seen from space. Sarah, what do you think about having Veronica as your stepmom? Dad asked, his eyes all hopeful. I plastered on a smile. If she makes you happy, Dad, then I'm happy. The wedding was small, just close friends and family. Veronica moved in, and I really tried to bond with her. We'd have these family dinners where she'd ask about school and stuff, but something always felt weird. So, Sarah, how's that science project coming along? She'd ask. It's good, I guess. Still working on the hypothesis. Well, don't stress too much. It's not like you're curing cancer or anything, she'd say with a laugh that didn't quite reach her eyes. Then came that night. I woke up feeling like my insides were trying to become my outsides. The pain was off the charts. Dad, help. I managed to call out. He burst into my room, panic written all over his face. Sarah, what's wrong? Talk to me, sweetheart. It hurts, Dad. It really hurts, I whimpered. I heard Veronica in the doorway. Mark, maybe we should wait it out. You know how dramatic teenagers can be. But Dad wasn't having it. He scooped me up and carried me to the car. As we rushed to the hospital, I caught a glimpse of Veronica in the rearview mirror. She looked annoyed, like my pain was inconveniencing her or something. In the ER, while the doctors were poking and prodding, I overheard Dad and Veronica talking outside my room. Mark, these hospital bills are going to be astronomical. Are you sure this isn't just what, Veronica? Our daughter is in pain. Nothing else matters right now. Our daughter. That should have made me feel good, right? But the way Veronica said sure, of course in response sent chills down my spine. As I lay there hooked up to IVs and monitors, I couldn't shake the feeling that my life was about to get a whole lot more complicated. And boy, was I right. After that night in the ER, things went downhill fast. I was missing more school than I was attending, and the treatments got more intense. One morning, I overheard Dad and Veronica arguing in the kitchen. Mark, these bills are insane. We can't keep this up. What do you want me to do, Veronica? She's my daughter. I'm just saying, maybe she's exaggerating a bit, you know, for attention. I couldn't believe my ears. My own stepmom thought I was faking. I wanted to burst in there and give her a piece of my mind, but my body had other plans. A wave of pain hit me so hard I crumpled to the floor. Dad, help, I called out. They both rushed in, but Veronica's face. Man, it was like she was annoyed I'd interrupted their fight. Oh, Sarah, again, don't you think you're being a bit dramatic? She said with a sickly sweet voice that made my skin crawl. Dad looked torn. Honey, are you sure you're not just stressed about school? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Are you kidding me? I can barely stand. That's when my best friend Alex showed up. Thank God for perfect timing. Holy crap, Sarah, what's going on? Alex rushed to my side. She's fine, just a bit overdramatic, Veronica said, rolling her eyes. Alex wasn't having it. She looks like death warmed over. We need to call an ambulance, now. Let's not overreact, Veronica started, but Alex was already dialing. In the hospital, the doctors confirmed what I'd been saying all along, my condition was serious and I needed consistent treatment. Dad looked guilty, but Veronica. She was playing the perfect stepmom for the medical staff. Oh, doctor, we've been so worried. Is there anything we can do to help our dear Sarah? Her voice dripped with fake concern. The doctor looked at her skeptically. Well, for starters, bringing her in when she's in pain would be a good idea. I saw Veronica's mask slip for just a second before she plastered on another fake smile. Later, when they thought I was asleep, I overheard Veronica talking to Dad in the hallway. Mark, this is getting out of hand. These treatments, the hospital stays, we're going to go bankrupt. But the doctors say a lot of things, Mark. They're just trying to make money off us. Sarah's young, she'll bounce back. Maybe what she really needs is some tough love. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Tough love? I was seriously ill, not throwing a tantrum. I don't know, Veronica. What if, trust me, Mark. I've dealt with kids before. Sometimes they need a push to overcome these things. We cut off the treatments, make her face life head on. She'll thank us later. There was a long pause, and my heart was pounding so hard I thought they might hear it. Maybe you're right. We'll try it your way. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. My own dad, the one person I thought I could always count on, was turning his back on me. And for what? Because his new wife said so? As they wheeled me out of the hospital the next day, I caught Veronica's eye. She gave me the smile that sent chills down my spine. It was like she was saying, I won. But you know what? Game on, Veronica. If she thought I was going down without a fight, she had another thing coming. I might be sick, but I'm not stupid, and I sure as hell wasn't going to let her win this twisted game she was playing. After Dad and Veronica cut off my treatments, things got real bad real quick. I was trying to tough it out, but man, it was rough. One morning, I could barely drag myself out of bed. Sarah, get up. You'll be late for school, Veronica's shrill voice pierced through my door. I don't feel good. I think I need to stay home, I replied. She barged in, eyes narrowed. Oh please, this act is getting old. Get dressed. I tried to explain, but she wasn't having it. As I stumbled down the stairs, Dad looked concerned. Honey, are you okay? Maybe you should stay home. Veronica jumped in before I could respond. Mark, remember what we talked about. No more coddling. Dad's face hardened. Right. Sarah, toughen up. You can't miss any more school. I couldn't believe it. I felt like I was living in some twisted alternate reality. At school, I pulled Alex aside. Dude, I need help. They've stopped my meds, my treatments, everything. Alex's eyes widened. What the hell? That's messed up. We gotta do something. I'm scared, Alex. What if they put me in foster care? That's when Mrs. Rodriguez, my favorite teacher, overheard us. Sarah, Alex, is everything okay? Before I knew it, I was spilling everything to Mrs. Rodriguez in her classroom. Her face got more horrified with every word. This is serious, Sarah. We need to get you help. But what can we do? It's my dad's word against mine, I said. Alex snapped her fingers. Evidence. We need to gather proof. Mrs. Rodriguez nodded. Good thinking, Alex. Sarah, can you secretly record what's happening at home? I felt a glimmer of hope. Yeah, I think I can manage that. For the next few weeks, I was like a secret agent in my own house. I recorded Veronica's snide comments, Dad's dismissals of my pain. It was tough hearing it all again, but I knew it was necessary. One day, I overheard Veronica on the phone while I was supposedly napping on the couch. Yes, I've transferred another $5,000. No, don't worry, Mark has no idea. He thinks it's all going to Sarah's treatments. My eyes shot open. She was stealing from us. I quickly hit record on my phone, praying she wouldn't notice. Of course I'll be careful. These idiots suspect nothing. I'll have the account drained in no time. I felt sick, and not just from my illness. How could Dad not see through her? The next day at school, I filled Alex and Mrs. Rodriguez in. She's stealing money too. This is insane. Alex was fuming. Mrs. Rodriguez looked grim. I've contacted your previous doctors. They're appalled at the situation and are willing to provide statements. I nodded, feeling a mix of relief and fear. Thanks, Mrs. R. I just hope it's enough. As we were planning our next move, a wave of dizziness hit me. The room started spinning. Sarah, you okay? Alex's voice sounded far away. I tried to respond, but my legs gave out. The last thing I heard was Mrs. Rodriguez yelling for someone to call 911. I woke up in the ER again. Dad was there, looking scared and confused. Veronica was trying to smooth talk the doctor. Oh, you know teenagers, always so dramatic. I'm sure it's just stress from school. The doctor wasn't buying it. Mrs. Thompson, your stepdaughter's condition is extremely serious. Without proper treatment, she could. Now, let's not exaggerate. Mark and I know what's best for our Sarah. I saw Dad's face change. It was like he was finally seeing Veronica clearly for the first time. But before he could say anything, I felt myself slipping away again. As consciousness faded, I heard Alex's voice. Don't worry, Sarah. We've got the evidence. We'll fix this. Just hang on. I wanted to tell them about the money, about everything, but the darkness was pulling me under. My last thought was, please let this plan work. I can't take much more of this. In the hospital, feeling like I'd been hit by a truck, Dad was there looking like he'd aged 10 years overnight. No sign of Veronica, though. Guess the witch finally flew off on her broomstick. Sarah, baby, I'm so sorry. I should have listened to you, Dad choked out. Before I could respond, the doctor stormed in, looking madder than a wet hen. Mr. Thompson, your daughter's condition is critical. The lack of treatment is borderline criminal neglect. I'm obligated to report this to the authorities. Dad looked like he was going to pass out. I didn't know. My wife said. That's when Alex and Mrs. Rodriguez burst in like they were leading a SWAT team. We've got proof, Alex shouted, waving her phone around. Mrs. Rodriguez, always the voice of reason, stepped in. Mr. Thompson, Sarah's been documenting everything, the neglect, the verbal abuse, and the financial fraud. Dad's eyes nearly popped out of his head. Financial fraud? What are you talking about? Alex pulled up the recordings on her phone. Veronica's voice filled the room, bragging about siphoning money from the family accounts. Dad's face went from shocked to straight up devastated. I can't believe this. Sarah, I'm so sorry. I've been such a fool. Just then, a nurse rushed in. There's been an accident. A woman named Veronica Thompson. My heart skipped a beat. Dad jumped up. What happened? She was in a high-speed collision. Apparently, she was trying to leave town with a large sum of cash. She's alive, but she's paralyzed from the neck down. The room went dead silent. I couldn't help but think, karma's A. Ain't it? Dad looked like he was going to be sick. I need to go see her. Dad, after everything she did? He shook his head. No, I need to tell her it's over and that she's going to pay for what she did to you. As he left, Alex squeezed my hand. We did it, Sarah. You're safe now. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. My treatment started up again, and slowly but surely, I started feeling like myself. Dad filed for divorce faster than you can say gold digger, and the cops were all over Veronica like white on rice. A year later, I was packing for college. Can you believe it? There were days I didn't think I'd make it to my next birthday, let alone college. Dad knocked on my door. Need any help, kiddo? Nah, I got it. Thanks, though. Things were still a bit awkward between us, but we were working on it. Sarah, I know I've said it a million times, but I'm sorry. I should have believed you. I sighed. Dad, I get it. She played you. She played all of us. But you came through in the end, and that's what matters. He nodded, tears in his eyes. You're stronger than I ever knew. As I zipped up my last suitcase, Alex popped her head in. Ready to roll, college girl? I grinned. You bet. Let's blow this popsicle stand. As we loaded up the car, I couldn't help but feel grateful. Weird, right? But this whole mess showed me who my real friends were. It showed me how strong I could be. You okay? Alex asked, noticing my spaced out look. I nodded. Yeah, just thinking. You know, a year ago, I didn't think I had a future. Now, sky's the limit, baby. Dad gave me one last hug before we took off. You show them what you're made of, kiddo.